Welcome to TalentFRED's Talent Talk, powered by myself, Fred Scott, and my brand is called TalentFRED. And this particular podcast empowers all individuals to unlock their full potential and walk in their purpose. Not only are we real, and we're also going to be unscripted with our conversations, but it will spark growth, ignite passion, and provide tools to thrive among who you are in your best personality and professionally. I will tell you a little bit about me if this is your first time coming to our podcast. And I am an author, technologist, speaker, educator, and founder of TalentFRED. My podcast embeds the framework of triumph, lead, achieve, educate, nurture, and thrive. Wherever you are in your life, whoever you are professionally, we accept you, and we also are created and change makers. So these are authentic stories and practical insights to help you grow, lead, and create a lasting impact in the space that you're in. I have a guest today, and I actually have an additional guest today. So Mr. Miller, Dre'Mon Miller, is going to tell us about who he is, and he's going to introduce Mr. Ross. So I will turn it over to you to tell us about who you are and more.
All right, awesome. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever you may be looking at this. My name is Dre'Mon Miller. I'm the founder of Street Smartz Over Safety LLC. I am a native of Richmond, Virginia, where I graduated high school from then George Wythe High School, now Richmond High School for the Arts. Go Bulldogs. And I created this great organization that helps out the communities in Richmond and surrounding areas, Chesterfield, Henrico, Petersburg. And then we have some of our activities that has extended along the whole realm of the state of Virginia. I am one of five kids, born to Glenda Miller and Henry Waller. And I'm a native of Southside Richmond, mostly. And yeah, I'm excited to be here about with this podcast. I have one of the young men who is in my program, is a lifelong member of my program, Mr. Trey Ross, is on the call. And, you know, if we could give him a congratulations, he just graduated from Huguenot High School this year. So yeah, we're very excited doing some big things in the city of Richmond.
Well, thank you. So, Mr. Miller, he mentioned his group called Street Smartz. So, just tell us a little bit more about what Street Smartz is so our audience will get a little more in depth about who you are. And not just who you are, but your organization that you founded.
Yeah, awesome. Street Smartz Over Safety is an organization where we are empowering the community to be leaders and be agents of their own change by giving them skills, giving them a mental toolbox that they can pull out of when they rise to challenges that they have to face. We do this by a mix of mentoring, after school programs, lessons, empowering them of how to respond when there are health hazards that might come up in their lives or they might experience, or also how to respond when you're talking about opioid overdose. What does that look like? How does that affect the whole family? Not only the person who chooses to go through those things, but also the individuals that are impacted by that secondhand. So like children, the family members, the impact of how housing works, financial. The reason why I wanted to start Street Smartz Over Safety is because just like a lot of other young men in my city or ones who grew up with me, I faced a lot of challenges growing up. I come from a single parent household. I had moments where I felt like I was not being seen and overlooked. Moments of when to be quite frank, I didn't want to live, right? So I wanted to
Wow.
make adverse choices and to take my own life and not want to be here. But through seeing mentors, seeing individuals, seeing and hearing their challenges about what they went through during their life and how they persevered and they pushed forward through it, it helped me and made me want to become the best part of me. I've experienced teachers, I've experienced community members who told me based off of my attitude at a certain age or based off of the way I responded that I wouldn't make it to certain places. I wouldn't be able to walk in certain rooms because my attitude was too bad, and that would take out of those experiences. But I'm here to say that that did not happen. I have walked in rooms that I still don't believe that I belong in, but just showing up and being my authentic self made it so that I can be in that room and actually function. And that's where the name Street Smarts come from. Basically, it is a saying that me and my two older sisters used to say when we were younger. We were so different from everybody else growing up because yes, maybe we were a little bit aggressive, right? We had to be. We had to grow up a lot earlier than
Mhm.
some other youth that comes from different backgrounds. And based off of that, we had certain street smarts though that other people didn't have. And some
Ah,
people will call it either street smarts or you might call it, you have a little bit more keen of common sense. You have those street concepts that you can take in any room and be able to function because you know how to read people, you know how to read the emotions, you know how to read the space in the room. You as the young people say, you can catch the vibe that's going on in the air, right? You know exactly what's happening without anybody ever saying anything to you because you have learned how to be in difficult situations and also navigate those without letting it overcome you. And that was the goal of the business. So Street Smarts Over Safety is if you have street smarts, you can function anywhere you go. These are those skills that you need to be successful anywhere. I might not have the most education, but I know how to deal with people. Like I might not have the training, but I'm a great communicator, or I know how to solve problems. I don't get overworked under stress. And because of that, these are the individuals that we need with the individuals who have the education and the skills. And by putting it all together, you have a full encompassing and hopefully a better community to solve a lot of the problems that's going on within our communities.
so Mr. Miller, you just shared with us about your life story where you grew up and you saw a need and a goal to create Street Smart. I really love how you said, look, we had to be keen and have that common sense to survive, but those survival skills, you remembered what it meant to be successful and be in the position that you are in today, and you're giving back to youth so they can acquire the necessary life skills, coping skills, soft skills for them to be successful. And that's why we got Ross here today, who's been in the program since the beginning. So, Trey, since you've been in the program since the beginning of Street Smarts, I love the title. Love the title. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience in the program, how it benefited you, and also the impact it made on your life and others who would, um, that he's going to probably go out and say, hey, got a podcast for you to listen to a parent or organization, and here's the why you should be a part of it.
Okay, so first I would like to thank you for having me here.
You're welcome.
I would touch on the experience first. So, um, getting into Street Smarts was kind of tough. Um, at
What
first,
made it tough?
at first I didn't feel seen,
Okay.
but then I kind of moved into it more, growing into it with the other students that was there, like the other people at the program of Street Smarts. Um, it has taught me a lot during my
So
experience.
what would you say the one thing, since you said Street Smart has taught you a lot, you've been a part of the program since its inception. Tell me what's the one thing you would tell us that it taught you a lot.
It taught me discipline.
Okay.
Actually, I'll touch on three things. It
Okay.
taught me discipline, accountability, and
Wow.
mentorship. Those three things. Those three things.
Discipline, accountability, and mentorship.
Yes, sir.
Great, great, great. And can I ask you this question, Trey? Since you have graduated from high school, what's the next thing in your journey?
Um, the next thing is my journey is I either want to start working a stable job,
Okay.
um, or I want to either go to Reynolds
Okay.
College.
So you have two different opportunities. You want to either go into the workforce or you go into community college. Anything you're interested in going into in the workforce, as well as maybe getting some skills from community college, because that's where I met Mr. Miller at the community college.
As far as community college, I would like to either study chemistry or cosmetology because I want to work in like the fragrance department.
Whoa.
Because I'm very into fragrances, colognes and perfumes, oils, basically hygienic stuff. So
Okay.
I would like to work in that area and gain more knowledge about fragrances and stuff like that.
Well, thank you for sharing with us that, Mr. Ross. I'm going to ask Mr. Miller, what do you remember about Mr. Ross as that student who came into the program, and now you see him now? Tell us a little bit about what you see in his growth, and you can benchmark against where he said discipline, accountability, and mentorship.
So I would say from the beginning to now, and Trey might laugh when I say this, but when Trey first came in the program, Trey
Yes.
was like the older kid who always wanted to pick on the little kids. All right. And it wasn't like I wouldn't say a bully, right? Because it wasn't that. The little kids loved playing with Trey. But it was hard at first to get Trey to understand they are playing with you so much because they're looking up to you, right? They know that you are the older one. And let's be honest, Trey sounds like a grown man. He has the deepest voice in the program. So every time Trey talks, everybody listens because it's like, all right, you got this grown man talking to you. So he is very good with captivating attention in a room. And over time, what I saw is that Trey ended up becoming the leader that we were trying to push him to be at the beginning. Trey goes out when I have different speaking events. If the business needs to go and present, Trey is one of the 4 to 5 young men who actually go and they run the table. They talk about the business. They already know what's going on. Trey has those skills of already as being his own business ownership. I forget sometimes to walk around and introduce the business to other business owners. And I forget to get cards and numbers because I'm doing everything else, running every way. And at the end of the day, Trey come back and say, here go all of the
Oh, wow.
cards from all of the other business owners. I told him you was gonna call them in about a week. So you need to make sure you call them. And so Trey is that individual who's already showing that he has those leadership skills. And Trey, we just had a major sneaker ball for the end of the year for all of our young men. That was in
Oh,
our
wow.
Future Leaders Initiative. Trey stepped up and ended up being the MC for the program. Public speaking is one thing that Trey did not like to do at first. But now Trey jumps in with no problem at all. And I think that is not only a testament to me, but also a testament to the other young men in the program, how they all have become a family and they all support each other. So they knew that at first Trey didn't want to speak, but now they're like, look, Trey, if we got to talk, got to get on up there. You the oldest one and you got it. And, now Trey is comfortable enough around them where he can stand out in the front and actually want to speak and feel comfortable with speaking. And that's just a testament to how the program works, how making the young men a family first and letting them know that even in each one of their weaknesses, when you think about them as a whole, they all are more strong if they have that sense of community with each other.
Wow. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And you know what, Mr. Miller, one of the things I was reading under your literature and to our audience, this is so powerful. You've worked with over 475 students that have been served through Street Smartz. So that's pretty darn impressive. And what are some of the we heard about the transformation with Trey. So any other transformation or success stories you witnessed over the years with your program?
Yeah, so we started in August of 2021, but we didn't really have a first program until January of 2022. So we've been doing a lot in the last 3 years.
Yes.
And so with us, we have after school programs where we service a lot of students in after school. But with Trey is in our mentorship program where we offered mentorship during the summer. We have them for a month, Monday through Friday, usually July to August. And then we heard from our parents where the parents said, yes, this is a great program, but why isn't it offered during the school year? What happens to them during the school year? How do we continue this going? So last year we actually put it out there for during the school year where they meet with us 2 Saturdays a month. So now it is a school long program where the summertime we have between 30 to 40 young men, and then the school year we take about 15 of them, put them in the leadership program, and then during the summer they come back where they are leaders amongst the other young men that are in the
Oh,
program,
wow.
and they receive a stipend during the summer, whether it comes from the city of Richmond, and those who don't qualify, then it comes from us. Some visions of success is that we've had parents. So I'm gonna read some from some of our reports that we've had after the program. One of the parents said that her young man came. The purpose of putting him in the program was for him to feel like he had a presence in the room amongst other people. She wanted him to understand like what is the importance of being a man and a black man in society, because she stated that
Amen.
he didn't have a father figure at home. She said that he considered himself to have a lot of fears and didn't want to try different things, or he just felt like he was uncomfortable. But then by the end of that summer, she told us how he would speak up at home. He would advocate for himself. He would
Wow.
actually express how he felt, and he was excited to be able to experience new things. He was a kid who is 45 minutes away from Kings and Maine and never been to didn't have the chance to go to an amusement park.
Amusement park.
But by being in the program, yes, you are learning resume skills. You're learning how to do an interview. You are learning how to talk. You are learning through conflict resolution. And you can ask Trey, I smile now, but when I say I want a result, I am on their backs about it.
It's huge.
I am not easy at all.
Look
Like
around.
I'm to go
Trey's
at you,
going, yes.
to show up
Yes,
to your
sir.
house.
Sir.
I will call your parents and let them. And when I call your parent, where your child at? Tell them they supposed to gave me something 2 days ago. Where is it? All right. But I do that because I want them to know like being accountable is a thing. Yes, with me, it might not be that big of a consequence, but if you do this on a certain job, you might lose that job.
That is true.
And I want to make sure that every experience you have, whether that is for the job where you're making not as much money or the job where you're making the most money in the world, that you're still showing up 100% the way you are. We had another parent who said that we have had students who lost one parent and they come in the
Okay.
program. And then their grandparents say, you know what? I see now when they come home, they're actually excited to do something. Where at first they just want to sit in their room and don't respond or don't talk, or we ask them a question and they don't have an opinion. And now, after being in the program, they feel comfortable enough to understand the importance of trying new things, or they understand the importance of speaking and voicing your opinion and knowing that you can have an opinion at your age.
Yes,
um
you can.
and those things make me very happy to see that, because by you putting yourself in a room and not speaking, I know what that feels like. You feel isolated. You feel like you don't have anybody to confide in. And when I did that, those were the moments where I didn't want to be here. So the fact that we can help a child, make them feel like they can come out of that and now want to have a reason to live or a reason to survive, or feel like you have a future, because that's the main goal. We want you to have a future at the end of the day. Feel like you
That's
can have a future. Um, so yeah, those are some of the things. We went on spring break. This year was our first year taking the young men to a spring break trip.
mhm.
And on this trip, we took them from Richmond all the way down to Atlanta. We went to
Wow.
5 different colleges,
Oh,
and
wow. Which ones did you go to?
we went to UNC Charlotte, Duke
Okay.
University,
Okay.
Morehouse. Of course, Clark Atlanta was right there, so we kind of seen some of Clark Atlanta. And then
Okay.
on the way back, we went to South Carolina State University.
Wow.
And we went to VCU. We went to
Shout
VCU.
out to all of those universities.
Yeah, so we went to all of those schools. We ended up getting a tour. The young men got to see uh, some of the students at VCU. We actually had one of the track stars come and give us the tour so he could tell us about sports, because we have a lot of athletes in the program. Um, so yeah, we did that. We went to an NBA game. We
NBA
did,
game.
yes,
Yes,
World of
sir.
Coca-Cola, and we went to the aquarium during that trip.
Oh,
So
you know what? I tell you, Mr. Miller, Street smart is more than being smart on the streets, but being smart in life. And you guys are providing, and you and the program is providing a wealth of opportunities for growth. And I love the fact that you said that one parent said, "Hey, I want to get something during the year," and you've expanded that, and that's incredible. And so, Mr. Ross, you feel the same way that all of these opportunities has helped you in those three different main areas that you shared with our audience today?
Yes, sir. It has. It has. It very much has. Over.
I'm gonna call you Mr. Ambassador. Mr. Ambassador for Street Smart. That's what I'm gonna call you because the role you have played to be the ambassador to represent, you represent it well. And Mr. Miller is really proud of that. I don't know how he does all the work that he's doing and keeping up. I am most proud of what you're doing, Mr. Miller, with the students, and especially he's trying to help African American young men to find their best self. Like I say in my book on TalentFRED, Unveiling Your Best Potential, for them to triumph over the things that they are having obstacles, getting over that mindset, them for selecting things that they can achieve, and then leading themselves, which you exemplify, and then educating them on the possibilities out there in the world. And then I love the fact that you mentioned we're trying to make sure that they nurture themselves and then they are beginning to thrive. Just like Mr. Ross, you said, I love chemistry. I want to have my own fragrances. I want to become a business person.
Yes.
The impetus of this program has really done that. I think the listeners, the viewers, everybody's going to be pretty much excited about being a little bit smarter and getting a part of Street Smart. So I want to ask this one last question. You know, today's youth, Mr. Miller, is trying to handle, and I think you've already touched on this, but I want to get into it just a little bit, not long. How are you hearing about the boys navigating mental health challenges, some of the things they may be experiencing with violence in their neighborhood and some of the social pressures? You mentioned that. And it sounds like Street Smart, and Mr. Ross, you can respond to, is a safe place that all the students and all the boys can express some of the things that they're experiencing at home and at school. So can you tell us a little bit how Street Smart is helping these young men through some of those things?
Yes, I'll go first. I think by making the atmosphere a family first,
Yes.
and not only educating the young men, but making sure we bring in their families into the aspect of their learning,
Mhm.
because we do understand that not every family, where the parents might not be healed either. So it might be the first generation of the young men being healed before before the parents have actually had a moment or a chance to learn certain skills.
Mhm.
So we've made it our business to not only give the young men challenges, but also to challenge their parents. And by doing that, the whole family is learning. And then when they come to us, we reach out. I reach out. I make it my business to reach out to parents and ask them, like, hey, what are some things that you think we should work on with the young men? So that way we got the parents' feedback. And then when the young men come to the programs, like, let me know how you feeling. Let me know the things that you're going through. And we also make sure that we stay really close and ask them their opinions on certain things they want to learn about or certain things they want to learn, coping mechanisms to be able to deal with. And honestly, they tell us, my friend, this happened to my friend. How do we handle this? And then we make sure we build that into the lessons. There's certain things that are automatically in every curriculum that we create. And those things are making sure that we have some conversations with law enforcement and lawmakers within the area in which we live in, making sure that these young men know what laws are in place, knowing when the laws change, knowing some individual faces within law enforcement, and also how to navigate through those systems, and knowing how to respond in certain situations. If you're on a traffic stop, it's not the time to argue. Get home safely, and then we can respond later. And also know that every officer is not an officer against you. Some officers are doing their job and they have to ask certain questions. But if you just be patient and be still in your response, sometimes you can get a better result.
Mr. Ross, you have anything to add?
As Mr. Miller did touch on about the family aspect of Street Smart's boys bonding with the boys kind of did create that certain what I want to say, that certain like
safe space.
Safe space, yes, like that certain safe space that however you feeling that you might not want to say at home, you can say there, and they will have that sort of comfortability to help you through it. You know.
Great. Before we wrap up, before I conclude, I really want the audience to know if someone is listening and go, Street Smart, how can I support it? What means can I do to support it? It sounds like Mr. Miller is really trying to make it. He's not trying. He is making a great impact by adding value to each young man's lives and making a difference in the Richmond community area. So, Mr. Miller, go ahead and share with the audience, how can someone find Street Smart, read about Street Smart, and support with their resources or giving back to Street Smart?
Street Smartz Over Safety. Of course, we have social media platforms. So if you are on Instagram or Facebook, you can just put in a name, very simple, at Street Smartz Over Safety. You can reach out there, or our email is streetsmartsoversafety@gmail.com. We also have, if you Google us and put in Street Smartz Over Safety, our website will show up. Right now, we have 13 programs going on between Henrico, Richmond, and yes, Henrico and Richmond right now this summer. We have the boys mentoring that is going on in the East End Teen Center. And then we have Street Smartz Over Safety, a cybersecurity class, healthcare class, a law enforcement career cluster going on in the south side of Richmond.
Well, let me just sit on back.
Yes, we have, and then we have 2 programs going over at Lucille Brown. So I would like to shout out Next Up Richmond for giving us some of those opportunities and the funding to do some of those. So please reach out. We always look for community volunteers with some of our events that we do. We look for mentors during the school year to help mentor the young men that are in the leadership program. And so please reach out, become a family member. Once you're a part of Street Smartz, you're always a part of Street Smartz with us.
Well, you know what? And everyone who's listening and anyone who's watching, Street Smart is got a Z on the end. Has a Z on the end. Just want to make sure. And also to our listeners and also to our viewers, if you're like, I missed it a little bit, just go to TalentFRED.com or TalentFRED, and I'll post that same information there so you'll be able to see it at the end of the in the website, and also here on this podcast. So I want to begin to wrap up. Thank you guys for being here on this part of this episode of Talent Talk. We really appreciate our listeners and viewers of being a part of this journey and to hear about Street Smart. I want to give a special thank you to our amazing guests, Mr. Miller, Mr. Ross. How often do you get to hear about a community service or a community program and a recipient that's here on the same time? So that's special. So today we found value in our conversation. And guess what? To our listeners, our viewers, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment to let us know how this resonated with you the most. And your support continues to help others, to empower them and uplift through the real purpose of thorough dialogue and authentic. The next time, just keep on thriving, keep on sharing your talent with the world, just like they're doing with Street Smart. Thank you guys. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much.